I have the Opinel number 7 here. Somebody mentioned in a comment to the really lightweight bushcraft combo video that I should consider just adding a striker to my fire kit and getting rid of the Opinel, because the Opinel isn't really going to do much besides striking the fire steel. And I just put this video together, or I'm going to, here, to show that the Opinel is actually quite a capable knife. And the Opinel was actually my only knife for quite some time. This was when I was first getting into bushcraft, and I was reading all the stuff about how carbon steel was so much better than stainless, and how carbon steel was the only good steel that a knife could be made out of. And I was carrying a Swiss Army knife at the time, and that was stainless, of course, and I wanted a carbon knife. So as soon as I found an Opinel 7 in a store local to me, I snatched it up immediately and started carrying it. And in this case, it's about equal to a Swiss Army knife because the steel is tempered pretty softly. I've been considering some experiments to try tempering it harder so that it would hold a better edge, because I believe it's 1095 steel. But it's really not a bad knife, considering, you know, a lot of things. Cost, for one, it's cheap, and it's very hard to find a knife that'll perform as well. And I just gave it a sharpening when I first got it because it was a little bit dull. But so I've used this quite a bit, sharpened it quite a bit. You can see it makes a fine fuzz stick out of some dry maple here. If I needed to make up a tent stake, it's not too hard. I can just put a point on a stick. This is a fairly large stick. I wouldn't normally make a tent stake out of something so big, but for the sake of illustration, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So it'll put a point on a stick pretty well. And I can thin out that point a little bit. And one of the real benefits to the Opinel, one of the things that I really like about it, it makes me wish that they came in slightly better steel, is the roundness of the handle and how hand-filling it is without it being as heavy as you know, a larger knife would normally be. So it'll put a point on it fine. Then I can go to this end and strip off the bark. And this end's a little bit rotted, but I'll just come back to this piece is harder so it can demonstrate. But it'll cut a notch fine for the end of a tent stake or for a trap. You can make a figure 4 pretty easily with this knife. You can catch squirrels with that. In an extreme case, you might be able to rig one up for a deer. So this knife is really a pretty capable knife, and I would say that apart from folding, it's probably just about as good as my Mora. And the Mora is another knife that I used for a long time before I got any higher end knives, and actually I'm really fond of the Mora. Even after I've had some higher end knives, it just cuts really well. But anyways, this is the Opinel number 7. It cuts a fine notch right there. Makes pretty good fuzz sticks. Cuts points on a stick pretty nicely. And this model is 1 ounce. This one that I have in my hand. So, very light, capable knife. The steel isn't the best, but it works fine, and the edge comes thin enough so that even once it's dull, it'll still cut wood pretty well. So, and it's also easy to resharpen if you have substandard sharpening tools on you. So that's the Opinel number 7, and I feel like it's a pretty capable knife.